Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Daily Motion. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Sunday, January 18th, 2015, around 7:07 in the morning, Berwick, Massachusetts. The sun is trying to come out today, but it's going to be overcast and going to get some heavy-duty rain today and highs in the 40s. A news report, the Columbus Blue Jackets beat the Boston Bruins, ending the Bruins' 6-game winning streak by a score of 3-1. The University of Hartford beat the UMass Lowell Riverhawks basketball team by a score of 68-62 in overtime. And 44 years ago today, Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear, beat the living legend Bruno Sammartino to win the WWE World title at Madison Square Garden, ending Bruno's 7-year title reign. And also, 17 years ago today, Stone Cold Steve Austin won the 1998 WWE Royal Rumble in San Jose, California. Mike Tyson was in attendance, second year in a row that Stone Cold won the WWE Royal Rumble. And 12 years ago today was my 500th visit to Hooters of Boston on 222 Friend Street in Boston, Massachusetts. Just as Tom Brady passed away to the Garden. And that's about it on that. My first video subject of the day is my review of the 1999 WWE Royal Rumble. The WWE Royal Rumble in 1994 took place at Providence, Rhode Island at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, formerly known as the Providence Civic Center. And this pay-per-view was pretty awesome, and it had a controversial finish at the Royal Rumble with Lex Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart both went over the top rope and at the same time, and they were declared co-winners. And this was a very controversial move, and the winner of the Royal Rumble gets a title shot at the WWE champion, whoever that may be, at WrestleMania. That was the second year they used that stipulation, since it's still used to this day. And the announcers of the Royal Rumble for 1994 was Vince McMahon and Ted DiBiase, who was making his debut as a heel announcer. He retired from the arena at SummerSlam 1993. And the dark match before the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, just to be seen in Providence at the Civic Center, now the Dunkin' Donuts Center, was the Brooklyn Brawler beating Jim Powers. It was just to get the crowd warmed up. And here's the matches that happened on the pay-per-view. The first match was the Native American Tatanka beating Bam Bam Bigelow in about 8 minutes. Originally, it was going to be Tatanka against Ludwig Borga, because Ludwig Borga had ended Tatanka's undefeated streak on an edition of WWE Superstars in October with help from Yokozuna. But a few days prior, Ludwig Borga's ankle blew out, and it was destroyed. So he was no longer gone from the WWE, and Bam Bam Bigelow took his place. And this was to end the Bam Bam Tatanka feud with Bam Bam. Like in an edition of Superstars in April of '93, he cut off a part of Tatanka's hair after Tatanka interrupted his interview time. And this was a very back and forth match. Bam Bam missed the moonsault, and Tatanka beat him with the cross body block for 1, 2, 3. Some interference by Luna Vachon, who was Bam Bam Bigelow's manager at the time. Bam Bam Bigelow was a very big man, and was very agile for his size, and like I said previously, he is a guy that doesn't get talked about too much these days as like an all-time great, but he should have got a major push in the WWE, and Luna Vachon was a great heel manager. She's not talked about today because she passed away years ago. The second match was for the WWE Tag Team titles. It was the WWE Tag Team titles, Jacques and Pierre, with Johnny Polo as their manager. Johnny Polo would become Raven in ECW, against Bret the Hitman Hart and Owen Hart for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Bret and Owen were having some troubles, but they crashed it aside, and Bret was going to dedicate his career to singles match, tag teams. And this was a back and forth match, but the Quebecers focused on Bret Hart's knee, injured it and stuff. And Bret was in the ring for a long time, and when he tried to put the sharpshooter, his knee gave in, and the referee called for the bell, stopping the match, and it went to the Quebecers, Jacques and Pierre. They retained the WWE Tag Team titles, and Owen Hart was mad. He was mad at Bret, berating him, and when Bret was standing up, Owen kicked him, turning Owen heel, and at the end of the match, Bret did a stretcher job, and Owen was saying on the interview, saying that you could have tagged me, I knew he was hurt, you're just so goddamn selfish and stuff like that. Great. This was to turn Owen heel and start that major feud with Bret Hart, which was the best feud in the WWE in 1994. The next match was for the Intercontinental title. It was the bad guy, Razor Ramon, who was WWE Intercontinental Champion, against Erwin R. Scheischer, also known as IRS. This feud started back in July, when IRS was part of Money Incorporated with Ted DiBiase was saying that Razor Ramon let the 1-2-3 kids steal $10,000 from him and stuff like that, and this feud culminated at the Royal Rumble. IRS stole Razor Ramon's gold with help from Shawn Michaels and Big Daddy Cool. This was a back and forth match and stuff like that. The referee gets knocked down. Shawn Michaels comes in, and he has a bogus Intercontinental belt. He hits Razor Ramon with it, but Shawn Michaels leaves the bogus Intercontinental title out in the ring, and IRS covers Razor Ramon for 1, 2, 3. And IRS thinks he wins the Intercontinental Championship, but another referee comes in and tells the referee who was outside that the fake Intercontinental title's in the ring, and that's not the real Intercontinental title. Then the other referee restarts the match, and Razor Ramon gives the Razor's Edge to IRS. 1, 2, 3. Razor Ramon retains the Intercontinental title. This was a very solid match and stuff. IRS was a great mid-card heel. He could put on great matches, but I could never see him be the Intercontinental title champion at any point. It doesn't fit him. And that's about it. And that match set up the WrestleMania 10 ladder match between Reigns and Shawn Michaels, which is the best WrestleMania match in history. I'll reveal that when I come to WrestleMania video blogs. And the next match was for the WWE World Championship. It was Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and his American spokesman James E. Cornette against The Undertaker with Paul Bearer, and this was a casket match. The hype for this was the Undertaker signed a contract to face Yokozuna, and the contract states that the Undertaker would only get one WWE title shot, and if he didn't win, he would never get one again. But Paul Bearer put in the contract it was a casket match, and Yokozuna was scared of caskets. He had a fear of caskets. This was the hype of it, building up. The original plan for this match was for The Undertaker to win against Yokozuna to become the WWE title champion, and then Yokozuna was going to drop it to a house show to Ludwig Borga a month later, and then it would have been at WrestleMania 10. Lex Luger was going to beat Ludwig Borga for the WWE title, but Ludwig Borga, his ankle was blown out, so they had to change plans. This was a basic casket match, very action paced, and back and forth. This was probably one of the greatest Yokozuna matches. The Undertaker put Yokozuna in a casket, but many heel wrestlers, including Crash, Kabuki, Tenryu, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Diesel, Bam Bam Bigelow, Adam Bomb, and the Head Shrinkers come in and attack the Undertaker and stuff, but the Undertaker gets back up many times, but then Yokozuna hits Paul Bearer, knocks him out with a punch, and they open up the urn, and the urn spews this and that, and then all the heel wrestlers put the Undertaker in the casket, and Yokozuna retains the WWE title. And then when they were moving the casket, the lights went out, and they had the interview. They had the Undertaker talk with inside the casket, and it said that I will not rest in peace. And then they show the video of the Undertaker coming up, and then they show him above the video screen. Actually playing that Undertaker was Marty Jannetty, and the heels just went off like crazy and stuff like that. And the Undertaker had a bad back, so that's why he lost, and he had to take some time off. That wasn't the original plan. I told you the original plan, but that it had to be changed. And then the match, the main event, was the 1994 WWE Royal Rumble match. And due to time restrictions, every wrestlers would come in at approximately 90 seconds. And I have to say that 90 seconds is a good way for wrestlers to come into the Royal Rumble, because 2 minutes is maybe too long. 1 minute is too fast. 90 seconds is perfect, because you could get a fresh wrestler come in, let him have his moment, stuff like that, and start from there, because 2 minutes too long. 60 seconds is rushed. And the first two wrestlers were Fatu of the Head Shrinkers and Scott Steiner, and then they had Rick Steiner come in, and then they Scott Steiner eliminates the Head Shrinker, and then we're gonna see Rick and Scott fight, but then they had the martial arts expert Quang come in. He blows missed at Rick Steiner, and then they have the Rocket Owen Hart come in, get boos, and they have one of the Smoky Guns come in, I think, Bot, and then they have Big Daddy Cool Diesel. And Big Daddy Cool at this time was just known as Shawn Michaels' bodyguard, but he goes on a roll. He eliminates Scott Steiner, eliminates Quang, he eliminates Owen Hart, he eliminates everybody. And then the next three wrestlers that come in, Bob Backlund he eliminates Billy Gunn, and he eliminates Virgil. 7 straight wrestlers he eliminated. That's a record for consecutive wrestlers thrown out in a row for the Royal Rumble, and he was getting a big pop. Even though he was a heel, the fans were kind of cheering him, and this was probably to set the seeds that Big Daddy Cool was going to be a major star in 1994. Eventually, Diesel gets eliminated by 3 wrestlers with the help with Shawn Michaels, who accidentally eliminates him. And this Royal Rumble match was, decent. They had like Greg the Hammer Valentine come back out of retirement. They had Rick Martel. They didn't have too many endurance records this year. I think Bam Bam Bigelow was in the Royal Rumble for about 30 minutes or so, and there were 4 wrestlers who were doing double duty. They had matches before the Rumble, and then they were participating in the Rumble. They were like Tatanka, Bam Bam Bigelow, Owen Hart, and Bret the Hitman Hart. And they had when one of the wrestlers didn't come out, number 25, they was saying that it was Bret the Hitman's Hart number because he was injured and stuff like that. But it actually turned out that the wrestler who didn't come out, Bashkin Booger, they said he ate too much, but there was something he no-showed and stuff, so they was hyping that. But Bret Hart came in at number 27, Luger came in at number 23, and then the ending of the match was very controversial after Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart eliminated Shawn Michaels and Samu of the Head Shrinkers because they were the final 4. Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart started to fight, and they go over the top rope at the same time, both touching the arena floor at the same time, and people were very shocked. They didn't know who was going to win. For several minutes, they were having the referees deciding which one was going to win. But finally, one referee says, Lex Luger won. And the fans were, okay. They were kind of cheering Luger a little bit. And then another referee was raising Bret the Hitman Hart's hand. And then the crowd was cheering a little more, but they were not big pops for both of them. And then WWE President Jack Tunney, the figurehead president, he wasn't actually the real president, came down and he just discussed it with the referees, and he told the arena announcer Howard Finkel, and then Howard Finkel said the winner of the Royal Rumble match is Lex Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart co-winners, and I think that was the only right thing to do. Even though I didn't really like having co-winners of the Royal Rumble, it worked out pretty fine in my opinion. And then both Lex Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart went on to WrestleMania 10 to face the champion Yokozuna in 2 separate matches, which I'll talk about when I do the WrestleMania 10 blog, which will be coming and stuff like that. What I thought about this Royal Rumble? Yeah, it was an average Royal Rumble. It was like the casket match was pretty good, and the tag team match was pretty awesome as well. Just to turn Owen Hart heel and set up that WrestleMania feud. I could care less about the Tatanka Bam Bam Bigelow feud. It was there to fill time, and also the IRS versus Razor Malone match was, you know, decent, but that was just to get to set up for the ladder match for WrestleMania 10 between HBK and Razor Ramon and stuff like that. And also, like, after the Royal Rumble 1994, it was decided that Bret the Hitman Hart was going to be WWE Champion at WrestleMania 10 because of the crowd popping more for Luger. More for the Hitman than Luger, even though both of them were, you know, getting average pops and stuff. They weren't going through the roof for that at the Royal Rumble. And this Royal Rumble was, you know, it was better than 1993's Royal Rumble match, but it still lacks really star quality in the Royal Rumble match. Hogan was gone from the WWE by now, so he didn't participate. And there were a lot of substitutions. I think they were supposed to have Kamala in the WWE Royal Rumble in 1994 and a couple of others, but they didn't show, so they had to have substitutes. That's about it on that. I'll be back later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, 2 more video blogs for today. One's going to be about the 2014-2015 NBA season mid-card report, and the third and final video blog of the night will be about Kenny Albert. And coming soon to these video blogs, the top 10 players and pitchers in Colorado Rockies history. The Rockies have Coors Field is a dream park to hit home runs in, and you become a good hitter, but it's a nightmare for pitchers. And speaking about dream people, coming soon will be 2 dream ladies, Julie Broughton and Heidi Pratt. Bye now, Facebook friends, YouTube followers, Twitter followers, and Daily Motion followers.